Good afternoon, dear friends. I am glad to welcome you to my channel. Let's get straight to the main events. According to information from certain cartographers, Russian troops have managed to fully liberate the settlements of Spalnaya and Borky, located on the southeastern border. These reports are coming from both pro-Russian bloggers and some cartographers. Moving towards the settlement of Suja, it is noted that the Russian side has published video footage of artillery strikes on the positions of the Ukrainian army in the area of the village of Kolmakov. The footage shows that Ukrainian troops were under fire, and adjustments have been made to the maps based on these images. Previously, a small yellow area indicated a disputed zone, but now there are no questions regarding territorial control. The footage proves that the positions in Kolmakov and Dmitrievka are significantly behind the front lines of the Ukrainian army. In the northern direction, fighting continues in the area of Cherkasska-Perikna, where Ukrainian forces are trying to assemble powerful strike groups for further actions to the north or for stabilizing the front. As for the Kursk direction, the narrative in the Western press is beginning to change. Previously, it was discussed that Ukraine was losing ground in Donbass due to the offensive in the Kursk direction, but now Western media reports that the situation does not look as grim. If Ukrainian forces manage to create a system of trenches and fortifications, the Russian army will need around 20 brigades to regain control over the border zone. However, as noted by the New York Times, the Russian army currently lacks the necessary 20 brigades made up of contract soldiers and volunteers to be transferred to the Kursk direction. Therefore, at most, the Russians are capable of establishing a temporary stabilization of the situation, possibly until the current large battles are completed. Footage and satellite images confirm that Russian builders are rapidly constructing new trenches and dugouts, while the main line of defense, similar to the Surovikin line, is being established along the route from Astra to Kursk. These fortifications are far from towns such as Glushkovo or Sudzha, and the Russian military will gradually advance in that direction with the aim of stabilizing the situation, after which they will focus on clearing the territory. Over the past few weeks, various versions regarding the plans of Ukrainian forces on the front have been actively discussed on the internet, in addition to the situations in the border areas of Russia. One of the most likely directions for an offensive could be the Zaporizhzhia region, where the Ukrainian command has long been forming a strike fist and building up forces, including artillery systems and drones, for operational units. One of the most plausible scenarios for the actions of the armed forces of Ukraine is an offensive in the Kamensky area. Especially in the vicinity of Primorsky and Stepnogorsk, there is a buildup of attacking forces whose target, as our data suggests, could be important settlements such as Tokmak, with the potential to cut off ground communication with Crimea, as well as Enerhodar, with plans to capture the Zaporizhzhia nuclear power plant. The possibility of such actions is indicated by numerous signs, both obvious and hidden. In the interests of Ukraine's forces, satellite reconnaissance is actively operating, monitoring potential positions of air defense and headquarters of Russian troops. At the same time, similar targets from the enemy side are also monitored for analysis of camouflage. In addition, Ukrainian forces are increasing the intensity of shelling and the use of unmanned aerial vehicles, including in Enerhodar and neighboring areas. The Ukrainian side is also striking at forest belts, bunkers, and shelters, preparing conditions for further offensive actions. Ukrainian authorities are also beginning to form an information database for a possible seizure of the Zaporizhzhia nuclear power plant, which is reflected in accusations of alleged arson at the facility and statements by Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky about the need to return the site under Ukrainian control. At the same time, plans for landing troops on the Kinburn and Tendrivka Spits are not merely fantasy, as has begun to be discussed by official representatives. Ukrainian forces are indeed considering a combined operation for a landing with boats, simultaneously using strike drones and deploying sabotage and reconnaissance groups via helicopters. Meanwhile, while the armed forces of Ukraine continue their actions in the Kursk adventure and prepare for an activation in the Zaporizhzhia region, the operational crisis is exacerbating in the Pokrovsk and Alexander Kalinovka directions. Despite the risky nature of the current plans, the Ukrainian command is ready to go all in, aiming for immediate victory and the opportunity to turn the tide of the conflict. That's all for now, friends. We remind you that our channel condemns any violence and calls on all parties to engage in immediate negotiations for the peaceful resolution of conflicts. Thank you for staying with us. Subscribe to our channel, like our posts, and we wish you all the best.